Hi guys, you alright? So this is something that's been on my mind and a topic of conversation for years now, because I have two really close friends with celiac disease. So obviously it's been part of our conversations, discussions of gluten-free diets for so many years now. And one of these friends I went to uni with, and there was a coffee shop right at the total opposite end of campus to our department in the uni. Me being friends with her, we were quite close, and obviously I want to see her be able to eat things that are safe for her. I'd obviously join her sometimes, go to the other side of campus and see if we can get this food that she can eat. But so many times, time after time, it was out of stock. And now I can only really come up with a couple of reasons why that could happen. A, either the coffee shop didn't really care about celiac disease or gluten-free products, so they didn't have it in stock, which I don't really think is the reason for them running out of stock of this product. The other option is that so many people do gluten-free diets as like a fad diet to try and lose weight. The second one seems a little bit more realistic to me, just because, I mean, celiac disease, it's not the most rare thing in the world, but it's also not the most common. And to imagine that everyone who has celiac disease on that campus all going to the same coffee shop to get the same product, it sounds pretty unlikely to me. And that's why it's really frustrating going time and time again, just wanting to see a friend get food that they can safely eat that is not going to harm their body, and all of these times not being able to. Also, a side note for anyone who is trying to do a gluten-free diet as a way to lose weight, the gluten-free options aren't actually better for you. They're created so people with celiac disease or other gluten intolerances can safely eat them, because anytime someone with celiac disease tries to ingest gluten, that makes their own body attack itself. But someone who isn't suffering with that, it really frustrates me that someone would do a gluten-free diet, because it's not actually any better for you. It's like drinking Diet Coke because it's got no sugar in it, but the chemicals they put in to make it taste like it's got sugar in it aren't actually any better for you. It's the same kind of thing. So anyway, that's why I'm frustrated to begin with, because I think doing a gluten-free diet, unless you actually need to, is ridiculous. But then we skip forward to a few months ago, where I see an advert for herbal essences, shampoo and conditioner. And in the advert, there is a section that says no colorants and no gluten. No gluten in a hair product. What difference does that make? As I've already said, the problem with celiacs having gluten is ingesting it and that causing the body to attack itself. Having gluten in a hair product has literally no effect. So I messaged one of my friends who has celiac disease and I said, this is ridiculous, right? And she replied, of course, what difference does it in a hair product make? So that was frustrating, and that's the step where I start to think this is going too far. And then we get to a couple of weeks ago, I was in work, someone came into my work asking for donations for a charity. That's totally fine, and for anyone that had donated, she was offering this hand cream that she described as vegan and gluten-free. Now I understand vegan in hand cream. If you're a vegan, you don't want to be using animal products in any part of your life, but gluten-free in a hand cream, I mean, you're not going to start eating the hand cream. It's just ridiculous. I mean, you can go so far as to say you put the hand cream on and then you're preparing food, there could be contamination from the hand cream into your food. Bit of a stretch, but I mean, we could go down that route. But if you want to go down that route, I don't want contamination from any part of hand cream in my food. Whether it's got gluten in or not, I don't want any hand cream in my food. So it is really ridiculous. Another problem I have with gluten-free diets that aren't actually a medical requirement is people are going into restaurants and putting all of these different dietary requirements onto their food. Like, I'm not a massive fan of nuts and the flavour of nuts, but I would never go into a restaurant and say, oh, I've got a nut allergy, just so that the restaurant doesn't put any nuts in my food. Because, I mean, a nut allergy is a lot more serious than celiac disease. Obviously, I'm not trying to say that celiac disease isn't worthy of attention and needs to be catered for correctly, but a nut allergy could result in an anaphylactic shock, which is a lot more serious, or at least a lot more immediately serious than a problem with gluten. But I would never go into a restaurant and say I've got a nut allergy just so that no nuts touch my plate, because that means that the kitchen are going to have to work extra hard to make sure that there are no nuts in my food, when I could just say to the waiter or waitress, I don't like nuts, could you make sure there aren't any in my food? Don't worry, I'm not allergic, but I just don't like them. I mean, after all, the staff are there, they want your tips at the end of the day. They're not going to mess up something that you've asked for on purpose. So to sum it up, 2 points. 1, if you don't have an allergy to something, something, don't make it up and don't say that you do. Also, stop with the gluten-free fad diets. Obviously, if you're celiac, yes, you need a gluten-free diet, but if you're not, please stop. And 2, hair products, skincare products, stop advertising them as gluten-free. It's not necessary, it literally benefits no one in any way. What's the point? So I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, please give it a massive thumbs up, leave a comment down below, let me know any of your thoughts on this, and subscribe because I post new videos every Monday and Wednesday. And I'll see you soon.